kind of messed that one up, didn't you?
All right, everybody, welcome to When a Gay Girl Meets a Trans Girl. I am the gay girl, Holly, and I'm here with my co-host slash spouse slash with.
Slash trans girl. Right?
Yes.
Brooklyn. I'm Brooklyn. Hi, Holly. How have you been this last week? We didn't record on a normal day this week, and there was a reason for that. We have a brand new system set up in our studio right now. We got new mics, we have a new soundboard, and we have kind of a lot going on in our studio now.
Will this thing pick up on me breathing?
I don't know. Maybe if you do it like that, sure.
All right, so now that that's out of the water,
what's in the water? What was in the water? I don't know.
Our
that
secrets
scares me.
and lies.
There's stuff in the water, and now I'm kind of confused.
But I'm really impressed with her. Like, this is stuff that I don't really dive into at all, but like, she did some classes in college, and she's got a little soundboard, and she's all spiffy with it and everything. She did a really good job. I like it.
Thank you. I've always wanted to do this, starting a podcast, and I always thought like having a friend or a best friend to start it with, and talk about things that we have in common, or talk about the things in our lives that were important. That was always something that I was always interested in.
I'm drinking one. I'm not a big energy drinker anymore. I used to be, but those
Changing the subject, by the way.
Sorry.
No.
I'm like, my heart is just going like, because I'm drinking like a C4, and my lips are burning, and a little bit of TMI, but my bottom hole is kind of burning for some reason.
What?
I know. I don't understand.
It's just going right through you, landing at your bottom hole?
Guess. It's
Wow.
like burnt, like the back end, obviously, but I don't understand what's going on. But
We're talking about your number 2 hole, right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. For me, it's a exit only, by the way.
Okay.
The exit way is, anyway, TMI, but
Way too TMI. You got people around the world finding out that your little butthole's burning. Isn't that something?
God.
My favorite energy drink has always been the Mountain Dew energy drinks. I never used to drink Mountain Dew energy
and this
drinks.
is not sponsored or an ad or anything. We're just sharing with you.
Yeah, no. But I like the strawberry melon. Those are my favorites.
Yeah, I used to like them, but I don't know. I haven't been feeling drinking energy drinks lately.
What's the other one that I've been drinking a lot of lately?
Rockstar.
Yeah, the
Sugar-free.
red and white one.
Oh, yeah.
It's the fruit punch, I believe. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's pretty good.
That is a good one. Those are pretty nice. Got to keep our energy going, though. We got busy lives. That's what happens when you got a family, and then like kiddos, and then you got full-time jobs, and then school on top of that, and then a podcast. And
yeah, I start school back up on Tuesday. I just got one of my 1-month classes done. I've got 2 more 1-month classes and 5 16-week classes. But it'll be my last semester, and then I get my degree. And I have another math class this semester, so it's gonna
where are you
challenging.
graduating from?
Oklahoma State University. I always wanted to go there ever since I was a kid, because they were the underdogs to OU, and I always root for the underdog.
I went to Butler Community College, and then I have done some stuff through Fort Hays State, got a degree through them, and I am looking to go back to Wichita State University. I've actually enrolled, and then I didn't end up going back last semester like I wanted to. A lot of things going on, but on top of a new relationship, but that's something that I want to get done. I'm kind of nervous about the, what's it called?
Math
classes.
Oh yeah, she has to take one that I just got done doing. Oh, it was bad.
I cannot do math. It's all like, my mind, the way it works is it wants to know why I'm doing something, and math is kind of like, you just do it. You don't need to know why. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not fun.
No, it's not. It's not fun at all. and I'm not looking forward to it, but I do want to get through it. I want to be able to increase my knowledge because I actually like to go to school. I like to learn. I like writing papers.
Yeah, I like writing. My last class, we didn't do exams. We just wrote a few page papers, and it's great. So much easier.
Yeah. So, what do we have on the schedule for today, Holly?
Today we had, we're going to talk about Brooklyn, and
Yay, me.
she is actually post-op from male to female sex reassignment surgery.
Which means I am no longer transgender. I am transsexual. We've talked about that a few times.
She's so happy to learn that.
I'm transsexual.
But she had it done, I believe it was August 25th of 2021, so she's quite a bit over the 1 year mark.
Yes.
And the reassignment surgery is basically, well, I Googled it just so we could tell you the actual thing. The testicles are removed, and that's an orchiectomy, which a lot of trans girls get that done I don't know, a lot of them get that done too without actually getting the vagina, but...
There's a few different ways they can do this. I know that doing my research before all this started, some girls just get the testicles removed and they just have the penis.
Yeah.
And then there are some girls that get the penis removed and then it's just the vagina, but there's not the vaginal canal where you can have intercourse. And then there are some that actually have all of it. They have the canal and the clitoris.
Why'd you say that word? Clitoris.
I don't know.
Gah.
They can have the clitoris. And that's what I got. I got the final... I got it all. So it looks very... Holly, it looks pretty...
Yeah, it looks
good.
pretty real. It does look good. But, so they take the skin from the scrotum, and on this one that she did, and they use that to make the labia, and then the erectile tissue of the penis is used to make the neoclitoris. The urethra is preserved and functional, which is how she goes pee. But I think the testicles made up the lips too, right? The vaginal lips?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did. That's what gives them they're soft. The outside lips, they have a really soft feel to them.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the scientifical thing. Tell us your end of it. Like, we know how it was done, but she was definitely in a lot of pain. And the recovery was... Tell your story.
Tell my story, okay. This is going to go back years.
The surgery story.
Everything, yeah. It goes back. If I start at the very beginning, which is where you want me to start?
I thought we would just talk about, like, after the surgery, but what are you wanting to talk about?
I just thought I'd just let you know, like, how it all...
Oh, the whole procedure? Like, yeah, like... Oh, like going to therapy for a year and...
Yeah, when I did my research, I actually researched someone in New York initially. And I was originally going to start up do an appointment there, and it was a famous doctor that I can't remember the name of them, but I was recommended to them by someone else, and I noticed that there were a few other people that have done it that were, I guess, famous on YouTube, famous transgender girls, and I was like, okay, I want to really go through this doctor. And when I started to get dates and stuff, I was looking at something that was easily 3 or 4 years out, and I was like, oof, that's a lot. And I was like, how are there no other doctors around the United States that are as good as them? And as I started to do more research, that person was popular, probably due to the fact that other people had theirs done by her and spread the word, and that's how she became popular. So I started to do some research and found out that there's actually a doctor in Kansas City, which is only 2 hours from where I lived. And that doctor is Dr. Meredith Gray.
And let me stop you right there. Dr. Gray was the nicest doctor/surgeon you will ever meet. And the nurses, they all loved her. They all said she was the sweetest lady. She really was. After the procedure, I waited there for hours. She came in, they pull you into a private room. And she came up to me and she was like, is there anything you want to know? She told me everything. And then she's like, are you sure? Do you have any more questions? Like, she was so sweet.
She really was. Like, through the whole process, she was amazing. And there were other doctors involved, too.
Yes.
It's not just her, but it is her initial
for some reason it's
procedure.
like her rodeo. Like, we didn't really get to talk to all the other ones. There's the plastic surgeon, the one that does the canal, the one that does the splitting open.
I
think there were 3.
There's 3 different surgeons that were involved in it, and we did get to briefly talk to all 3 of them. But
we did?
Yes, we did.
I think you did that.
No, you walked in there with me, and we actually sat with a male doctor. Remember?
You
showed us pictures or whatever on the...
I forgot about him.
Yeah,
he wasn't as nice as her. He's still good, but she stood out.
Yes. So we actually talked to him, and there was somebody else that was in right before him in the same office.
Oh.
Wow, see, she doesn't even remember all this.
I just remember the nice one.
Yeah.
They're great too, but if you get it done with her, she did a really good job. They all 3 did a great job. And she will make you just feel, she kind of hypnotizes you into doing it. It's kind of creepy.
I swear to God, I was not hypnotized. I wanted to do it all by myself. God.
She sounds like Rose from World War II, like the Japanese camps where she talks all sweet while trying not to, while torturing you. It's okay.
No, she was awesome. She just, I called them up and they were like, oh, she has something about a year out. And I was like, oh, perfect. And they were like, here's the thing, you're not going to be able to get this done anyway unless you go through everything, which is going to take about a year. So I had to go through and...
Go to therapy for a year?
Yeah, I had to go through and go to therapy, and I actually spoke to a couple of different therapists, and we discussed why we wanted to have this done, what the point was, how maybe I would feel after the fact, and then they discussed, the possibility of having kids. They were like, hey, we recommend you saving your sperm before we do anything. And at the time when I started this, I hadn't met Holly, and I was like, I already have 4 kiddos. I think I'm done. I'm not going to have any more children, so I'm good. And so I, at that point, decided, I'm just going to go forward with it. I'm not going to save my sperm. Life has given me the children that I need, and I started to move forward. I did all my therapy. I did everything that needed to be done. And then I ended up... a lot of it ended up changing because I was supposed to have it done... When did the procedure get done? That was 2020?
No.
2021.
Yes.
So this was originally supposed to be done at the end of 2020. It was November of 20, and then it got pushed...
It was supposed to be February of 21.
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
No, it was originally supposed to be November.
Oh.
And as we started to get closer, we started to get to about August, September... They were like, hey, we have issues with the scheduling for whatever reason. They couldn't schedule me on time or get me in for whatever reason. And they were like, we're going to push you back to February. And then I ended up getting closer and closer. And then about a month before, ended up having, was it COVID? I got sick beforehand. And they were like, listen, we're not going to be able to do it since you just recently had COVID. And... they scheduled it for, was it September? August.
August 25th.
Because they pushed it back again, remember? She ended up being out of town. Because as we got closer, they wanted to push it back to the week before, a few days before Thanksgiving, and I was like, I can't do that. I have a job that I need to be at for the holiday season.
Yeah.
And so they ended up pushing it back 2 or 3 weeks. And that happened to be just right around our wedding, and we were like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And we decided we're just going to make it work. We're going to deal with it. So I got married 2 weeks after a surgery that I was having problems dancing, and I made it work. It didn't hurt until after hours of doing it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, she did a lot of the cleanup. But no, that was pretty much the timeline of it all. But we went in and they said that they wanted me to bring the pictures in. And they're like, hey, bring pictures. Let us know what you want. So I actually went and printed off about 3 or 4 different pictures of vaginas. And kind of spread eagle, just their legs open. And they were just like, how I wanted the inside of the area to look and around the outside. And I basically got to pick what my vagina looked like.
Yeah. I remember when we went in, they showed us that's when we met the male doctors. They showed us the horrifying binder. They showed us all the mess up ones.
I don't think they were considered mess ups. I think that's just because what one of the doctors said was, don't look at this and think this is what you're going to get. This is what they asked for. Because one of the nurses came in after we were looking at the pictures and she said
our
that...
Our faces looked horrified.
Yeah, they were like, a lot of the transgender girls say they come in and want it to all hang out. I remember them specifically saying that to me. And I was like, what if I don't want it all to hang out like this? And she's like, we can do what you want. You just tell us. And I didn't see, out of probably 30 pictures, we didn't see a single one that looked like...
Not a sloppy bologna sandwich.
I know. Yeah, that was the crazy thing. The stuff was everywhere. And I was like, oh my god, it looked like it had been gone through a grinder.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe they did that.
It was creepy.
But my pictures are going to hopefully make people see that they do an amazing job and they can do all kinds of variety, everything from a huge sloppy baloney mess to a perfect vagina, right?
Yeah. Nicely tucked in.
Nicely tucked in, and beautiful lips and a little clitoris, and it just looked all perfect.
You say that weird, right?
Clitoris.
It sounds like you're saying Taurus like the Pokemon.
What? How are you supposed to say it?
Clitoris.
Clitoris.
No. It's like she's casting a spell.
Clitoris.
Clitoriosa.
Clitorios. Clitoris. Clitoris.
You just see one start floating above.
Oh, goodness. That's ridiculous. I swear to God, she's not been drinking. This is just her humor. Anyway.
So you had the procedure. We went up to KC, Kansas City.
Yes.
We went to KU.
Yes.
It was a maze. I got a lot of good walking in.
We got there late, too, because we got there on time.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, you're in the wrong building. And we had to, walk clear around the corner and, try to find the right area. And it was kind of a...
So we went in, and then I went... It was kind of weird how it worked. She went back for surgery. They make sure they do, a drug test on you, make sure you weren't smoking or doing any drugs. And then they do the surgery.
I passed.
Yeah. If you don't pass, if you've had any cigarettes or anything, you are not allowed to do it. But she went back there, did that, and then she was cleared. So then they took her away from surgery. I went into this waiting room thing. Kind of looked almost like a bus station. It was weird. All the nurses they had clipboards, and then there was a TV monitor, and it kind of actually looked like an airport.
It had my name on it, right?
Yeah, I think it had an ID number attached to you, not your name. They had numbers attached, and they gave me your number, and then it would tell me you're in surgery, you're in this part of the surgery, you're in post-op, you're in recovery. I was there for hours while they did that, and then they move you from one room to the long-term surgery room, waiting room. And so I got moved over to that one. And then they'd come with updates, and they, every 2 hours, they'd be like, oh, she's doing fine. She's still doing this. And so I got a lot of homework done during it. And then at the very end of it, they call you into a little closet. It was a closet. And they privately tell you how everything went. And then they walked me out, and I saw them wheeling away little Brooklyn. She was out of it. And then we got to her room, and she pretty much was out of it for an entire day. It took her all night, and then the next day she was pretty out of it the whole time.
I briefly remember being woken up like...
They woke her up a lot to check on her and clean.
Yeah. I had a catheter.
Ugh.
And I remember that pressure being up inside of my groin. And I always had this feeling as if I had to pee all the time, but you couldn't pee. It was a very horrible feeling. I mean, if you could imagine, it's kind of like a dream. You know, you have those dreams where you always feel like you have to pee in your dream because you really have to outside of your dream. And then in your dream, you go use the restroom and you pee, but then when you're done, you're like, I still have to pee. What's going on? And you just don't understand it. That's how it felt. And I remember just kind of being in a very odd state for the first so many hours. And kind of coming in and out of it, because I remember falling back asleep and waking back up, falling back asleep, waking back up. And it was, maybe an hour at a time that I'd sleep?
I think it was more than an hour. She slept a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah, it wasn't until... How long were we there? Like 3 days?
Yeah, I think so. 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, you're not there for an incredibly long time like you used to be. They found that getting you out and back into your house actually helps you heal faster. She could hardly walk. They wheeled her in a wheelchair. And then we got her home.
Mm-hmm.
She was in a lot of pain trying to walk up the stairs.
Yes, I remember that.
She pretty much was bedbound for... Well, how long was it?
God, it was a solid, like... So I was supposed to stay in bed for 3 weeks, and it ended up being 2 weeks before I got out. So I didn't stay in bed for the full 3 weeks because we were getting married. But after the wedding, I went right back to the bed, and I stayed in there for a solid few weeks.
Yeah. And then she had to carry around the catheter bag the whole time.
Not the whole time. It was, after about 3 weeks... No, because by the time we got married, the catheter bag was out.
Yeah.
It was only in me for about a week. And after the week, we went back up in there. They removed the catheter bag.
Yeah.
And then we went back home for a couple of weeks. We went back up there again. And then they removed the
gauze. Gauze.
The gauze out of the inside of my, what is the area called?
Your canal? The vaginal canal?
Out of the vaginal canal, yeah. They ended up removing it out of there, but I remember laying there, and they put me on this bed, and there were like some stirrups where my feet went.
God, yeah, I felt so bad for her. They had like this girl that didn't know what she was doing.
She had never done it before, and I happened to be the guinea pig for them. And she was like, they were like, okay, we're just going to pull this out. And I was like, oh, okay. And if you can imagine gauze being shoved up into a hole, into a vagina hole, but this thing has been cut and, bloody, and it's getting scabby in there from all the blood, and the gauze is like stuck up inside of there, stuck really good. Like, the one thing you don't want to do is yank it. And I tell you what, that nurse that they had training with her, she ripped it out of me. And I remember her taking like one little tuft of it. She pulled it just slightly, and I remember it being so painful. And then when she got the little tuft, then she went and just like yanked it out really hard, and she pulled it out a solid 2 feet. And I felt the blood rush to my head. I felt like I was getting ready to pass out. I remember Holly saying that I looked white as a ghost. I flipped my hands out and reached for her, and the doctor jumped up, and she was like, stop, stop, stop. And
yeah, she made her leave, and she took over.
She was like, I'm so sorry. I should have told her what to do a little bit more. but she was like slow. But as she was pulling it out, you could feel it. Almost felt like the insides of the vagina was ripping, and it was such a sharp pain that every second she was pulling, it made it feel like I was in the worst pain I've ever been in. It was horrible. It was probably the worst pain I'd ever been in my life at that point. It was bad.
Yeah.
And then she ended up giving... This was not the same day, was it? We went back for the little gauges.
I don't remember. It was either that time or the next time when she got the packet for her. They're not actually gauges. They are... That's the analogy that I created, that she has since been... They're dilators.
Dilators, yes.
They basically look like dildos, and they come in different sizes.
Yes, there's 5 different sizes, and I still have yet to get up to the biggest size. It is just that hard.
It's big for normal standards.
But it really is big.
Yeah.
I don't know that an actual penis would be that large.
Not normal ones, no.
But I've gotten up to the size right before it, and I've even taken it down a step backwards one because it is just more comfortable. Although I would like to work my way back up eventually and like maybe get to where I need to do that again. But I had to gauge every night or every day, twice a day for 15 minutes. And if I was sitting watching a movie, I'd let it sit inside of me for 30, 45 minutes sometimes. And then it got to be after the first year, you were able to gauge once every other day or once every 2 days. And I've let it go for a few days longer than that, but it's not recommended because it does get painful if you start to let it get tighter. You don't want it to do that. You don't want it to tighten up.
And she has to do this for the rest of her life. At some point, it'll get to doing it once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, depending on your body. But this isn't something that you stop doing. Like, the doctors have said they've seen girls go in and they didn't do it at all, and then the hole became like a pin size.
Yeah.
Because it's technically an open wound. That's what it is, and it's just wanting to heal.
You gotta heal with it in place so it's large. It's nice though, before I was taking, it was like, I forget the name of the medicine, spironolactane or it was an anti-testosterone, but now that my testicles are gone, I don't have to take that anymore. And I still have to take estrogen for the rest of my life too. So these are things that I ended up giving up a freedom of not having to take medicine every day or not gauging every day to be able to look and feel more feminine. And then you won't have to dilate as much either if you are with a male that has, obviously a penis and you guys have sex often enough. You don't have to worry about it.
Or a female and they like toys.
That's true. You get somebody that does like a strap on or something that will help keep your the vaginal area open, and you don't have to worry about gauging as much.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people are curious. Do you still orgasm? Does it still feel the same?
Quite honestly, I do orgasm. Which, wink wink. It feels different. There's a completely different feel. I feel like the orgasm comes from a different area. I think as a male, when you orgasm, you typically have it come from your testicles. You feel as you're having the orgasm, you feel it go through the testicles, I think, as a male, and which is pleasurable. And then, as you do this, I feel like your whole body orgasms, like it goes through your body instead of your testicles. And then another interesting fact is I feel like you can orgasm longer without the testicles now. Like before, it's like when the testicles are done doing what they do, which is pushing the sperm out of your body, you're done. You as a male are done. You don't need it anymore. You don't need to continue. Your orgasm is done. But getting off like this, it continues to go on. Like I can have an orgasm for a solid minute. And I don't know that that's something that you typically can do or most girls can typically do. So I don't know if it's just really a different thing that trans girls can do.
No,
I don't know
it's the same.
It is the same? But you can just keep going and going and going, and it feels great.
Do you still grow... Well, I mean, I know this, but you don't grow as much hair down there, right?
Well, no, and that's something that's part of the procedure beforehand. You have to have months worth of laser treatment down below and make sure that you don't have hair follicles growing. So, no, I don't have as much hair. I have a little bit, above the vagina that still grows, but it's not very much, and it's definitely a lot more manageable than it was before I had the laser surgery. So... But they do require that because there are parts of your insides that would naturally have hair, and they don't want that to happen.
Yeah, so if you don't like being bald, you might need to reconsider.
Well, they actually have like a map on above your vagina where they know what skin they're going to be using, so they can tell you what parts you don't need to get done if you like to be a little more, butchier down there.
Bushier?
Yeah.
Oh, bushier.
Bushier.
Oh.
Sorry. Bushier.
I was like, what?
You're a butch. You got a little hair down there. You butchy girl. Bushy. Butch. Bushy. Gosh, I don't know if I'm not talking right or whatever.
Bushy butch.
Bush. But any questions, or does that cover everything you think? And you guys are welcome to ask questions. If you guys have any questions, get on our Facebook and, drop us a line, and we'd love to answer any questions you got.
She needs panty liners. After the surgery, I know she needed them forever.
I felt like I knew what it was like to have a period to some extent because I bled like crazy, and I still do sometimes when I gauge.
Yeah.
If I gauge and it's been more than a couple of days and I'm sticking that thing up inside of me, it will I will have blood for a solid day. Sometimes not as much, sometimes it's spotty, but yeah. It's worth it. It's all worth it for me, and you got to make sure you know what you're doing, because this is not reversible. This is permanent. This is forever. And definitely, if you don't have kids, or I even recommend you just saving your sperm. Regardless, you never know who you're gonna meet. It's
How much does it cost to do that?
A lot.
Well,
I know.
Give them an estimate just in case they want to.
Oh God, I don't know the estimate. It's based off of like your insurance, I think.
Oh, to store it?
To store it, we were looking at $400 a year.
Yeah.
To store my sperm. Initially, this was not something that I was going to go through, and if I would have had my procedure when I planned to do it, I would never have had any sperm saved. But then I met Holly right as it was getting ready to happen, and she was like, I might want to have a kid with you. And I'm like, oh.
No. She was the one that said that first. And then I was like, yeah, maybe me too.
Yes. I did think that, I wouldn't mind having a kid with her.
Because I'm adorable to her.
So we talked about it, and then we talked to them about it, and they were like, yeah, we can save your sperm. It was too late to actually do anything with my sperm.
Oh, they were immature. They didn't have the little flagella.
Yeah.
They weren't little swimmers.
So I couldn't just.
We couldn't do the
sperm.
cheap. Yeah, we couldn't do the cheap method of using a turkey. Pardon that, but using a turkey baster, which would have saved us thousands of dollars. We have to do the IVF procedure, like the full-blown take eggs out and everything, which we can go over that in another segment. I will share my story on all of that, because that's another common thing for the gay and trans society is IVF.
Yep, that's another procedure. But they ended up when I went in for my procedure, I signed something and had them take my testicles, and they cut them open, and they actually removed as much sperm as they could. And then the second day that I was in the hospital, that doctor came in, and he was like, hey, I expected them to say they didn't have any.
Yeah.
Because I just did not think that they did. They said that there's a lot of girls that go in and don't have any because they were on estrogen for so long.
Or their numbers are so low that it is not possible to get anything.
Yeah. But they had 10 vials of sperm.
Now, we'll go in more detail on that, but 10 vials is a really good amount, but in the long run, they used how many? 4 vials?
I think they said 2 to 3.
I thought they used 4 this time.
Oh, maybe they did.
They have to use quite a bit of them to get
They do.
actually good sperm for the IVF procedure. So if somehow we were not able to get through it, then we only have a few more chances.
Yeah. Yep.
So you might think about that. The estrogen that you're taking is eating away at your sperm, and I know you know all about infertility, but if you have any shadow of doubt in your mind before the estrogen totally kills your sperm, you might want to store some.
Well, I had been on estrogen for about 3 years, and then I got off of it for a solid almost year.
Yeah.
And I think that was what my saving grace was with the sperm.
Now, that's not working for everybody. There's not enough studies into this. Some scientists say you'll never get your sperm back. Some say that it's promising after so much time you will. There's not enough facts to be able to say if you go off of it for this much time that your numbers will come back. I remember we looked all over for that.
Yeah, we did a lot of research because we were really worried that it was going to be... we weren't going to have enough. We were just worried that was the end of it for us.
Yeah. So you could be lucky and get your numbers back up if you quit it, or unlucky and not have anything ever come back again.
And God, that was awful because
we were scared.
Well, for me, I started having hair regrow in areas where, I never even had it before. And
it
was like re-going through puberty. And
when she quit the estrogen.
Yes. And it was, so, it's a mind game. Don't, but you know what? Here's the thing again. I know it sucks. And I know even a few weeks, a few months, half a year, you really start to go crazy off of it. But it's for something as important as your child, if that's what you think you want one day. So it will be worth it. Just get through, and then it can always be reversed again.
Yeah, that's the good part of that.
You get back on that estrogen, you can go right back to where you were. So.
Even the hair? Yeah, because, it might be gross. I'm not a hair person, so I think it's gross.
I don't like hair on the body either. It's gross.
Yeah. So we know some of you like your mate to be furry, but we're not. No. Her back was getting patches of hair. Super gross. Not anymore. And her chest was getting hair, and her tummy was getting hair. She was turning into a 40-year-old man. It was so gross.
It's so gross.
But she kept shaving it every day, so it made it better. But now it is actually all gone. We were kind of worried it was going to be there forever. She was going to be a furry little Chewbacca. But
no.
She's not a little Chewbacca anymore.
She was worried. I knew it was going to go away. Whatever. Well, if you don't have any other questions, I think that is probably it.
For the trans stuff. And then we got the gay gaming.
What do you have on gay gaming? Do you have any games?
Well, see, I was going to do a gay game, but I've been playing Diablo Immortal, and I love Diablo. By the way, Diablo 4 coming out this year. They announced it like a few days ago. Super excited.
Super excited.
Brooklyn does not play ARPGs, so
No.
anybody wants to play ARPG with me, I will be getting it on Xbox or possibly PC. I do love my PC. I might actually do PC because I don't want to pay for Game Pass this time, and I can just use a controller on it. Anyway, now how does this tie into good gaming? It does. This Diablo Immortal. Yes, it's pay to win. It's on the phone. I actually left a bad review for them because of the pay to win. I was like, you guys really did not need a pay to win game. You could have just charged for cosmetics and still made a killing because 1, you're Blizzard, 2, you're Diablo. Like, my god. Anyway, the part that ties into good gaming is they're very inclusive. The Charcy, the blacksmith, I thought she was a guy for a little bit. For like a few seconds, and then of course she talks, and you're like, oh, that's a girl, because she's got super butchy hair and blacksmith muscles and everything, and I'm like, oh. And then, so that's one. I like seeing inclusiveness. And then the armor. So if you guys know what Viva La Dirt League is, if you don't know what it is and you're a gamer, you need to watch them. They're hilarious. I love them. They had a certain skit where this guy just got a really cool chest piece of armor from this NPC because he completed this quest. He was like, yeah, this looks so awesome. And then the girl goes up, and then he gives her a bikini bra. And she's like, what am I supposed to do with this? And then she's like, and then the guy dropped that armor that he just got because he was like, oh, what's this trash? It's not strong. And then she runs over to try to pick it up, and she's like, oh, that looks so cool. And then she wants to put it on, and it won't let her. And then she's like, this isn't armor. Like, how am I supposed to protect myself? Like, what is this? And she eventually drops it, and I think the guy is all like, ooh. But Diablo is just like that, except they actually give the females good armor. They're not stuck in that, like, skimpy outfit that is obviously not battle ready. Like, I'm playing as a crusader, and she's got full-blown armor, and a nice big shield, and a huge sword. Like, I love it. But then they do have some prettier outfits, in case you want to be a little prettier. I was looking, the mages, some of them have got, like, tight pants. Nothing is too revealing, though, which I'm very modest. I don't like to be flinging my body everywhere and everything. So I kind of like that everybody's not going for the whole sex sells thing. That's what I'm against sex sells. Like, it's the lowest form to me of getting fans. But
It's a way to do it, though. That's how a lot of them work.
But they're lowering their standards, and I am a woman of principle. Anyway, I see Brooklyn's got an article up.
Well, I was looking to see if there are any.
That's Diablo 3, though, not
yes.
Immortal.
Not what?
I'm talking about Diablo Immortal. Diablo 3 is, I think it came out in 2016 or something.
Oh. Well, no, this article, I mean, I was just kind of reading to see if there were any characters that were considered gay or trans or anything like that in any of the Diablos. There's a few people that have, like, suggested over the years.
Her article is from Diablo 3, though, just to clarify. So it's a handful of years old compared to Immortal, which just came out last June.
Well, do you think they're going to do any characters in Diablo 4 that belong to the community?
I really think Charcy already does in Immortal. She's super butchy. I don't know anyone that would think that she's not the butchy type that might be a little interested in the homosexuality.
So, when did this game come out again?
June 6th, I think? 6/6. I think they were trying to go for 6/6/6. Was it 6/6?
6/6. Oh, let's take a look here. Diablo 4?
Immortal.
Oh, Diablo Immortal. Okay. So, which game is this? Diablo Immortal. Like, what line? Is it the fifth
It's after
game?
3.
Fourth game.
It's after 3. It's not number 4. Number 4 comes out this year. Later this year.
What's the difference between just Diablo 3 or Diablo 4 and Diablo Immortal?
This is just a side Diablo.
It's
this
just
one.
a spin-off.
Well, it's not on the console, and this is their pay-to-win game.
Okay.
The other ones are real games, so you don't have to pay to win. It's not pay to win, because pay to win. June 2nd.
June 2nd of 22.
Yeah, and I was a pre-register person, and yeah. I took a break from it because I got upset at the pay-to-win aspect of it. But now I'm playing it again because I just wanted to try to get through the story.
Oh, June 6th of 23 is Diablo 4.
Haha, 6/6.
So you do
Ooh,
for
really?
6/6.
They have a date. June 6th, Diablo 4, everybody. Oh, I can't wait. Wow, they announced it back in 2019.
I wonder if they have it pre-order available.
They probably do.
At like Best Buy or GameStop or Amazon or something.
I could probably get a little toy or something to go with it.
You have to look at that.
Those games are fun. If you like ARPGs, if you like going through dungeons and getting a whole bunch of loot, that's what it is. Loot hungry.
And what is the studio? Who's the one that makes it? They
Blizzard.net, the same, or Blizzard Entertainment. They're the same people that do WoW.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
ARPG is action role-playing game. It's kind of like D&D, but obviously not D&D because you can do everything in D&D. But yeah, that's the gay gaming aspect of it.
Gay gaming. Oof. The standard edition is going to be $70.
Yeah, everybody's starting for AAA games trying to up the price to $70. So a lot of people will be waiting on sales. But I will probably pre-order it.
Are you getting it on Xbox or are you going to do it on
I'm probably
PC?
going to do it on PC this time because I don't want to pay for Game Pass anymore. Like, why should I? I have a PC that can play better than console and I don't have to pay to play online.
It says that players who pre-order any version of the Diablo 4 digital via Battle.net
Yeah.
and the Microsoft Store or PlayStation Store will get first access to an open beta
Woo.
before the game's release.
In-game rewards. Oh, you get in-game rewards for World of Warcraft, Diablo 3, and Diablo Immortal. Woo.
The
I have all
$90
those.
Deluxe Edition offers up to 4 days of early access prior to the game's launch.
Ooh, and the seasonal battle pass.
Ooh, yep.
And an in-game mount. And armor.
There's a $100 Ultimate Edition that includes the same rewards as the Deluxe Edition, plus 20 free tier skips for the Battle Pass and cosmetic. An additional emote.
I don't know if this is a girl in me, but I'm a sucker for that stuff. Not the emotes. I don't really care so much for the emotes, but the mount, that's what gets me. Or if it had a special pet. If it had a pet, I'd be all in.
Yeah.
Ooh, I wonder, will it have pets? I would love to have little tiny demon pets.
Yeah.
Little imps following me, scurrying around all.
I want a little Sylveon just to follow me. You know what? We were walking through the mall the other day.
Oh, God, it was
And
awkward.
we were walking down the stairs, and I looked down, and there's like a girl, probably like a 7-8-year-old girl.
Yeah, she was a little girl.
She's a little girl, and over her shoulder, she had a little Sylveon. It was actually a bigger Sylveon.
Yes.
That was hanging over her shoulder. I was like, oh my God. I was like, where did that come from? And she was like, what's that? And I was like, look, she's got Sylveon. And she was like, I'd ask her, but I don't want, like, her parents to be like, what the hell's this, like, adult
Because she
talking to my
wasn't with
kid?
her parents for some reason. She was with a little boy.
Yeah.
I was like, if her parents were right there, I'd be like, hey, where'd you get that? But going up to her being like, hey, little kid, where'd you get this?
And she's like, wait a second. She was like, I saw at Build-A-Bear that they had the Sylveons, but she's like, it was supposed to only be online. And so we're like, let's go to Build-A-Bear. And
I'm
we
like power walking.
I know,
like
we ran over there, and then like we walked in, and she saw the bin. It had some.
she was like
Sylveons
trying
left.
to slow me down, and I was
I'm
like,
like,
no.
Ollie,
And
slow
I
down.
grabbed it.
And she ran in there. She like grabs it and yanks it and pushes a kid on the ground. They start crying. No, she didn't really do that.
I did grab it and yank it.
She did, and then she walks over. She's like, "We're gonna buy this." And the lady's like, "Okay."
I was too excited. They eventually said that it is an online exclusive, but some places will sometimes get handed random Build-A-Bears. And so we just got super lucky that we saw that little girl with it, and that I was able to put one and one together.
I know. God, and I wanted that so bad. I'd been.
Because online, you have to get the whole bundle pack. It's not a $50 bear online. Online, it's $85. I had it in my cart to get it for her birthday, But you have to get the bundle with a little 5 things saying, the sayings suck, by the way. They do not sound like Sylveon. They sound like a Minecraft mod that's saying Sylveon. Ugh, so disappointing. None of the sounds are Sylveon's little Pokedex noise from the game.
Well, it's more fun to build it, too, because you get to actually, like, pick out the heart that goes in there, and you get to kind of watch it, like, grow, and you get to choose how squishy you want it, and...
Yeah,
it's
if
really
you
fun.
want it to stand or not, or be extra squishy and snuggly and not able to stand.
Yeah.
But yeah, we saved a whole bunch of money getting it there, and she got to make it be how she wanted it to be.
So if one of you are lucky enough to get the Sylveon, congratulations.
Yeah. Sylveon has
Take
become...
a picture with your Sylveon and put it on Facebook, and we can tag us in it.
Sylveon is a Pokemon, by the way, and her favorite Pokemon used to be Skizor.
It's still one of my favorites.
But not her favorite, because I was like, Brooklyn, I'm surprised you don't like Sylveon, because she's pink and blue. She looks like the trans flag.
I was like, what?
And
I was
then-
like, I did not know about this Pokemon.
And then she fell in love.
I was new to Pokemon at the time, though. I think I'd gotten into it probably 6 months before we met, so it was kind of new for me.
Oh, yeah, she still says Pokemon.
Pokemon.
That's like 2 times she's ever said it correctly.
Gotta catch 'em all.
I had surgery, my courage repents me. You teach me and I teach you. Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Oh, well, thank you guys. Thank you all for joining us today.
Please don't sue us, Pokemon. We love you.
We will support you.
No, they're like hungry about going after people.
I know, right?
Mostly Nintendo, but yeah, Pokemon's super stingy. They need to make an MMORPG. I mean, I know they have the rip-off ones out there, but they need to make an official one. They'd make so much money. Mounts you could buy. Can you imagine? Buy a black... Sorry, carrying on. We need to end this, though. We're getting well past time.
Okay. Alright. Well, unless you wanted to carry on, it's up to you. You carry on if you want to carry on. She has a lot to say.
Alright, everybody. We're going to sign off now. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody. We'll see you next week. Same place. Same time.
Not the same time.
Same Poke time. Same Poke place. You know, it's like the 60s Batman. It was like the same bat time, same bat place. You ever heard of that?
No.
Yeah, that's because you're too
I never
young.
watched that.
I didn't either. Maybe reruns, but it's something you know, because if you're a fan of Batman, you know that's what they did.
I'm not a fan of Batman. I used to be when I was little, but I'm not anymore.
You're a Superman fan?
No, Captain America.
Captain America. Of
Golly.
course. She wishes she had Captain America gear.
Yes. If I could throw a shield like that, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He's so, like, pure. I love him.
All right, guys. We will see you next week. We'll have a great topic for you next week. And maybe I'll get her a uniform to sit in while we do it next week as well. Love you guys. We'll see you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on our show. Don't forget to check out our other shows wherever podcasts are available. And if you're in the position to help our podcast grow, please join us at patreon.com/GGirlTgirl. And check out our Facebook and Instagram page for more updates and messages at gaygirl/transgirl. And please hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you.